Yeah, well, welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happening in YouTube Atheist Community and Google Plus. Um, yeah, whatever. Tryout or experiment. It's kind of a failure. You learn something, doing it, but yeah, kind of weird. So anyway, yeah, the really, substance was a little bit low. And it really needs to be edited down to about 10 minutes of what might be called interesting or even funny. It really wasn't that funny because it was just a bunch of, I don't know what you call that, evading failure. And, that's not good enough. You got to be doing more than that. So yeah, it's just not much to say. Lyora, it's really been doing so much better. It's really just quite amazing. She thinks she's, well, she plays dumb. That must be an Australian thing, though. The people who think they're dumb in Australia are brilliant, and it's the people who think they're smart who are insane. It's kind of upside down world, I guess. But anyway, generally speaking, I suppose. Maybe. Anyway, it really doesn't matter. Can't draw any conclusions based on much like that. But it's just the kind of conversation people have, right? That we do try to make things a little bit too simple. In terms of communicating. And that sort of relates to a recent Modern Mystic video, which wasn't as bad as people had scared me into thinking it was. He's just doing you can't do the I thing. But he also doesn't like my brain. And I think that has more to do with the fact that he wants to universalize conscious experience more than I think is necessary or appropriate. There is a truth to the my brain thing, in the sense that my brain has been constructed by, don't want to do my age thing, but 54 years of bouncing around here, acquiring knowledge, in the little extra months in the womb, kicking my sister maybe. And so I've had that life experience has shaped this brain. So to say a brain is walking down a path is saying so much less than that can be said by simply saying that yes, this particular brain is doing this. My brain, that has a history, a perspective, that has both impulsive reactions and complex thoughts about what it's doing. It just kicked its own foot again into a root. It's not even the stroke foot, and it's like, wow, come on. If you're going to drive the good foot into roots, that's not going to get you too far. So yeah, this brain has a certain style, certain patterns, regular patterns, a certain configuration there's no crime in everybody who's going to interact with it recognizing that, oh yeah, that's that Gary thing, or that's, we do have an identity, and there's just no point in not recognizing that. So anyway, I don't want to make a response video, which I pretty much just did, but anyway, it's what was on this mind. But it's just this language thing and how we communicate with other people. It's like Wayward Guy just saw a video he did, kind of lamenting this problem of dealing with somebody who wants to die and whether he should let them go. And as soon as you interact with another person, you can metaphor it too, almost like the act of procreation. To save a life is to create a life in a way. But all of our interactions come with implications. Every now and then I have to, ask somebody, or somebody invites me to ask them in a way. But anyway, they're going to the store or something, or they could pick something up, but any extra trip, I get terribly uncomfortable with the idea that, well, what if something happens to them when they're doing something for me, doing me a favor? Am I going to have to wear that for whatever's left of my life, in terms of feeling, damn, I totally fucked their game. They were doing me a favor, got hit by a drunk driver and dead or something, and what if they had a whole bunch of responsibilities that they can't fulfill now? Are those responsibilities my responsibility? And in some strict sense, if you're going to really analyze it, sense, yeah. And that's just, wow. That's just so dangerous and so obnoxious. But it's sort of a truth. And so I guess I don't know if the mystic intends to broaden his let's talk in real words. Let's talk about what really is happening to these brains as they interact in the world. But that's sort of what's really happening, is that, you constantly have to weigh your, decisions, and even this concept of ethics is built out of some kind of perception that, am I doing this for my benefit or for their benefit, or, what's the real interest at play? But sometimes we do things, and we can almost see our it's not maliciousness, but our you can kind of sense your own advantage to having certain outcomes, and that's really what you're investing in, is certain outcomes. And it's really not so much about a principle or some other crap. It's about something more simple, visceral, self-serving. And it'd be nice to be able to have those conversations honestly without each other, without it turning into some effort to make people feel guilty or wrong or some other thing. But there is so much at stake that it's pretty hard not to turn things into, for the argument to get a little heated, because from different perspectives, there are very important principles involved, and there's certainly very real outcomes involved. So it's just not, and certainly it's not the nature of human beings to do things the right way versus the expedited, easier, let's use the fairy tale language, instead of the real language. Let's not talk about what we're really doing, And, that's pretty much another video. Sorry. Now I'll talk about determinism related to this, right? Because that's sort of the same thing. It's just this, this idea of a free will is just such a silly notion in the context of, us having, brains that have to calculate all the time and figure, outcomes and whatnot. No harm. Dog. It's a very nice dog, but they will bite if at all encouraged by any movement in a I have rights way. It's funny how some dogs are like that. So anyway, but the determinism, we can just, it's just such a fraud when you start seeing what's running inside of your own brain. You just do that little bit of introspection. You can see how you are being manufactured by themes, elements of, intensity, whatever you want to call them, dominant player, pieces of code that just keep wheeling around. And you can certainly predict most of the time your own behavior. You can see what's coming. What's a better way to put that? But just the point is, you can definitely have a memory of your past performance and where you're likely to vacillate or procrastinate. Choose the rounder thing, or the squarer thing, or the bluer thing. So if you make a simple enough question, you can answer the question for yourself just from your knowledge of what you've done in the past. That somehow you'll find a way, whether rationalization or not, but you will find a way, to choose the one that doesn't have a fat ass. That kind of thing. Anyway, that's enough of that. So anyway, it's just, generally speaking, it's just some really good bits of conversation, by these other antinatalists. They've just been really good. The Marco guy and the Mar guy and that Misty, hazy guy, Hazy Wolf, I think. And then Glenos, and I don't want to be slighting somebody, but I mean, sorry about that. But yeah, just these people, they're making good conversational arguments and doing a good job and all that crap, and you can't help but feel good about that. And then there's the other folks that are out there still. My Misery and Me, or Yvette, still trying to find its way. That's not really, that's a little bit fucked up. But Wayward and Heroin Church and all these, they're all still trying to make more sense, maybe is a good way to put it. Make more sense, feel more secure. I guess I just never had that problem because I haven't done much evolution of themes has never been a problem for me. The themes have always been consistent. It's just the intelligence of my verbiage, or the detail, the sharpness of the blade, has improved with time, let's say. But I mean, I've always knew, that there was something wrong with the picture, so to speak. My initial reaction was, there's something wrong with this picture. A kind of innate knowledge that if it isn't perfect, then there has to be a justification for that. Somehow my brain just didn't find there to be room for excuses for any flaw this big. Whatever, anything broken in more than a superficial way wasn't acceptable. But I really didn't understand the whys of the unacceptability, in the sense of the details of evolution, and why bad things happen, because there's no compensating, balancing force. The universe can be all bad right to its core, and there's just nothing to stop it from doing that. That's the way it can roll. And it's all dumber forces, not smaller forces, that are in control. And that's the pitifulness of our circumstance, is that we got here, by emerging out of stupid stuff. And so there is no smart mentor. There is no smart guidepost. Something that came before us and did it right. So anyway, probably enough. Suppose it all could be worse, and people can always use that dodge. Well, it could have been worse. Yeah, well, it could have been a lot better. So, anyway, I think that's enough. I think the cold is finally going to leave me alone soon. It was a week, I guess. Anyway, so till later and such, and so forth and whatnot. And the movie thingy show, TV show thing coming along. Should be some interesting things posted, and I shall endeavor to do better. My contribution. And until next time, such. So forth and whatnot.